The Dame train. It seemed like a month ago this guy was going to be traded, and there's been radio silence over the last month, but that radio silence ended. The Dame train has entered into Union Station. If you did not hear, and maybe not, we learned recently that Damian Lillard has done the act of war. He has ratcheted up the tensions on the trade front. Dame Lillard has unfollowed the Portland Trailblazers franchise that he has spent his entire career with on Instagram. Let me repeat that for those of you that are in the very back part of the room over there. We have learned that Dame Lillard has unfollowed the Portland Pro Bouncy Ball franchise that he has spent his entire career with on Instagram. OMG. Lillard, for so long, the face of the Trailblazers. Boom, shakalaka. Great, back when the great Brian Wheeler was the play-by-play guy there in Portland. And with the franchise, been there for a decade. Career averages of 25.2 points per game, almost 7 assists, and over 4 rebounds. And he has been in the postseason 8 times over his career, including a trip to the Western Conference Finals back in 2019. Damian Lillard, though, demanded that the Trailblazers acquire some needle movers if he were to stay with the team. But the franchise said thanks, but no thanks, and instead went out and has done mostly bupkis to improve the roster, other than a draft pick, which is what they earned last year. So you don't really get credit for that because you got that because you sucked. But in terms of impact players on the roster, the cupboards are bare. So let us discuss the question. How would you classify Dame Lillard's social media moves as he unfollows the Blazers? I've got celebrity chef. I've also got conservationist and red beret. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make some exotic donuts. When I think of Portland, Oregon food, not Portland, Maine food. Portland, Maine food is obviously, you think of lobster or lobster. But when you think of Portland, Oregon, you think of that kind of weird hipster donut shop. That's what I think of anyway. All right, so first of all, Dame Lillard is ready to pull his hair out if he had a bunch. Furious that the trade talks are moving like pond water, and so he has decided to go on the offensive. That's the only way you can take this move, that he is ratcheting up the hostilities here. Dame Lillard is ready for prime time. He's ready for South Beach, suntan, palm trees, and Mai Tais. That's what he wants, and so he's turning to the Celebrity Chef's Cookbook. The legendary chef Emeril Lagasse, he's kicking it up a notch. Got to kick it up a notch. Bam! Very combative. And this is directed passive-aggressive behavior. It's become the new normal in the social media age. Lillard, by unfollowing the Blazers, it's mostly an NFL move. We don't see often NBA players do this because their contracts are fully guaranteed, but here we are. So Lillard can do this, and it's passive-aggressive behavior, but directed passive-aggressive behavior. Here's why. Because he's got plausible deniability. He can claim it's not what you think it is, and don't read into it too much, but we all know the truth. This is, again, an act of aggression. The unfollow is a negotiating tactic. It creates a new round of headlines. You've got gas bags and blowhards like me tossing it out there, reigniting the hot spot, sparking the wildfire on the debate conversation in the NBA. And so there's mixed messages. I have to think that this will be a topic of conversation on those debate shows. Now, we are about a month away from NBA training camps opening up. As shocking as that is, the countdown has begun, and it's at this point an ultimatum. It's either Damian Lillard's going to have to show up and report with his tail between his legs to Portland, or he's going to have to boycott the Blazers altogether, and that would lead to fines and a bunch of other problems, a can of worms opening up. Now, secondly, let's move away from Portland. The Blazers have yet to engage fully Miami on a trade, so Lillard caught in the middle. But elsewhere, the schedule continues to be a topic. A handful of prominent NBA insiders are grumbling. Still, schedule came out last week. They're grumbling about what a raw deal the NBA gave the Clippers over the regular season schedule. The People's Team will have 25 stretches this season that feature 3 games in 4 nights, 25 of them. The NBA sent out a press release last week bragging about that grassroots movement by players who complained so much about 3 games in 4 nights that they're the lowest number they've ever had. But the Clippers are not on that list. Again, 25 stretches that will feature 3 games in 4 nights. What does that mean in layman's terms? It means that 75 out of the 82 regular season games for the Clippers, over 90%, over 91%, will be taking place in 3 games in 4 nights. Now, for comparison, the team that is at the very bottom, the least amount of 3 regular season games in 4 nights, that would be the reigning champions, Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets, the Joker. His team will have just 16 of those occurrences on their schedule. So let us discuss the question, what is our level of anger over the Clippers getting the screw job for the regular season schedule? So the Maller scale of anger, 1 to 10, with 10 being a congressional investigation. That's the highest. Maller scale of anger, 1 to 10, 10 being a congressional investigation. I am at a 2. A 2 when it comes to the Clippers schedule. Here's why. The Clippers' regular season schedule is irrelevant. It's been irrelevant during the Kawhi Leonard era. This franchise runs the regular season. They're conserving their energy, right? They conserve their energy. They're conservationists is what they are. They conserve their amount of effort during the regular season. They punch the clock. They turn on autopilot. Out of an abundance of caution, they don't want to play with a fire in their belly. And so from the Clippers' perspective, this is actually a blessing in disguise, right? It's nothing to be angry about because the schedule gives Kawhi Leonard and Paul George wiggle room to miss, by my count, a minimum of 25 games each this season. So right off the top, you shave 25 games that Kawhi and George are going to miss. Because there's no way on God's green earth that those guys are going to play 3 games in 4 nights, 25 times. It ain't going to happen. They won't do it one time. So mark it down right now that 30.4% at minimum, the Clippers will be without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George again for load management. Floating on the lazy river. In 2024-25, the Clippers move into the Taj Mahal, the greatest arena in America, the Intuit Dome, in the hood in Inglewood, just across from where the NFL stadium is, where the Rams and the Chargers play. And at that point, the Clippers will be able to get whatever schedule they want. They'll be the tenant, and so all will be kosher again for the Clippers. But it is apparent that the Clippers are getting the screw job because they're leaving the Lakers behind at the arena that used to be called Staples Center, which is falling apart right there in Skid Row. If you've ever been to L.A., Staples Center, which is now called the Crypt, appropriately enough, is right there in Skid Row. It wasn't in Skid Row, but Skid Row then moved since 2020, the politics in California, the Skid Rows everywhere. All right, now, final thought. So another round of photos has made its way through the social media channels, and these photos are showing Zion Williamson, excuse me. They're showing a slimmed-down Zion Williamson. And the New Orleans basketball player who's very popular with baby mama drama is seen with his beach body, if you will, in these photos. He's chiseled out of stone, Bafo Sacco, Zion Williamson. So are you in or are you out on the Zion Williamson workout photos that are making the rounds? So I'll go first. We are out. That is an out. I am not biting the cheese on this like Zion. He likes that fondue. Absolutely. But listen, he has become the red beret wearing character rerun from that famous 1970s, that timeless sitcom, What's Happening. Zion, I mentioned Ben Simmons, which was a Freudian slip, because Zion is entering Ben Simmons territory. We have seen this before, from the east, from the west, from the north, from the south, from all directions. NBA offseason, there is a sizzle reel of Ben Simmons knocking down three-point shots like they were layups. There's Ben Simmons is in great shape. He's committed to the game. The same thing with Zion Williamson now. Zion is slimmed down. He's got his diet under control. He's amazing. And he looks like he's in great shape. The photos look wonderful. And then what happens? Inevitably, Zion gets hurt. Some kind of phantom injury. Or something pops up to block his redemption tour. It's Scooby-Dooby-Doo-like. If it weren't for you meddling kids, we would have gotten away with it. But damn the consequences of these workout videos and these workout photos. And they do it because there's a lot of low information fans that just slobber all over the player. Oh, my God. You're in such great shape. You're wonderful. And then when the season begins, the beignets start going down the gullet, and it's all over. Turn out the lights. The party's over.